Okay, hi everybody. I'm joined today by Slotitup 503, which is his real.
Hello.
That's your real given name, isn't it? Slotitup 503.
Slotted Up 503, or people just call me Jason,
Oh,
whatever. Slotted Up
okay.
503 came from when I lived in Vegas, all the slot machines.
Right. Was there 503 of them, or?
No, it was 702 when I lived there because that was the area code. And when I moved back to
Oh,
Oregon, I added the 503.
all right. So it's an area code thing, is it? Fair enough. Cool. So yeah, you're joining me today to discuss some comic memories with me. Uh,
Absolutely.
you dug out some comic books, yeah?
I did. I found a few.
Good. Good. All slabs, are they?
No, I found a couple raw ones.
Uh,
Like I said, I just started. COVID, this whole COVID thing. I just started collecting, like really collecting again, about 4 months ago. So
right.
it's been fun.
What was the catalyst for you to start collecting again?
Like as a child, I loved it, and then we all get older, we all move on to things, and I just stopped collecting, and just got out of it. And then this whole Marvel universe came back out, all these MCU movies and all the cartoons, all the DC cartoons, and I was like, I used to love comic books, and I walked in a comic book shop and just got right back into it. Started watching YouTube videos, and here we are.
All right. So we're joined by a few people in chat anyway. We've got Gary B. Super Jessie, she related to you, isn't she?
That is my beautiful wife.
Ah, right, yeah. 'Cause I remember seeing her mentioned before. I thought I subbed her up from your channel. Was there two people you mentioned? Your daughter as well,
Yeah,
is it? Yeah, I thought I
daughter.
subbed them both up. Yeah, that's why they were doing the hot chip challenge, aren't they?
My wife creamed me at that. So
We've got Mark Spector here as well. Right, so let's move on. So we start off with your first comic then. We're going to show your first comic and we can still start talking about your first comic memory.
um, that would be, like I said, back in like '86. It was a big Christmas. I think it was '86, '85. The Ninja Turtles.
All
I was
right.
huge on Ninja Turtles.
You haven't got that
Big
on the
on
show
the
now, have you?
cartoon. My parents got me basically, all four turtles, April, Splinter, all the toys, all the figures, and I was so thrilled. And then my neighbor told me, he's like, "Oh, have you never read the comic book?" And I was like, "The comic book?"
Yeah.
So, I had to go. Then I was like, I have to go get the comic book. And then, I don't know, maybe 6 months after that, his father decided to open up a card comic shop.
Hmm.
So then I really got involved in comics as a child, helping him out, and going there every day, pretty much after school. So,
Did
but
you
Ninja
ever
Turtles
own?
were definitely the what got me into the comics.
Did you ever own that number one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
As a child, I don't know if it was. I honestly couldn't tell you if it was a first print or not, but I did have a black and white copy of the Ninja Turtles #1. And that was
Right.
one of the comics that my dad ended up getting, when I moved out. And still to this day, I wonder if that was the $35,000 comic that people are looking for today.
Wow. Is that how much it's worth now, the number one?
That's what I see on Go Collect. So go figure.
Wow.
It's all depending on what people are willing to pay, but it's a pricey book for sure.
That's crazy. So my first memory of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was it was a role playing game. My mate bought the role playing game of it. I didn't realize at the time it was a comic book either. And I'll be honest, I never actually owned a single Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic. But then I was a bit older though, so for me they was like already a bit child. Over here it was the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles they called them because Ninja was too scary to have as a I don't know. It was banned. I think the name Ninja, even though they was still carrying ninja weapons.
Yep. It was cool. Back then kids we had to use their imagination. We didn't have like all these, great elaborate toys of all these weapons. We just picked up sticks and, we became that turtle.
Yeah, that's true. Did you ever have the GI Joes and stuff like that? Did you ever play with them much?
I did. G.I. Joe's, He-Man, Masters of the Universe. Masters of the Universe even came with little mini comic books in there.
That's right. Yeah,
Action figures. So
I had a load of them. I've got a lot of He-Man still. I've still got them from when I bought them as a kid, and I would have kept all the comic books. I have no idea where the comic books are though. But it's not something I would have thrown away. But I've no idea where they are. They should be somewhere in my house, I'm sure, unless someone else has pinched them. But yeah, it's pretty weird. It's pretty weird. Actually, I might have to go look for those at some point. Try and work
There
out
you
where I
go.
left them.
There's a new hunt for you.
Yeah. Okay. So are you still a fan of the Ninja Turtles? Do you collect them now or?
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, since I've been collecting comic books again, I haven't gotten a lot of Ninja Turtle comics. I've gotten a few out of my mystery boxes, but that is a book that I'm definitely interested in. You know, like I got the Last Ronin. You know, that's been a really hot book. That's another book that you know, I didn't know that the Ninja Turtles and Splinter all died though. You know, like when I heard that, I was like, are you kidding me? It was almost like heartbreaking to me. Like,
all right,
I've thrown in, I guess there's one turtle left, and I guess in the previous storyline, I guess Splinter's dead. So
okay, I didn't know that.
my poor childhood.
Yeah, I had no idea about that either. So who is the last Ronin then? It's one of the four turtles. They don't explain.
It is. I don't want to. I hope if anyone is watching right now and doesn't want it to be spoiled, please look away. But it is.
So it's a mystery.
It
then,
was my favorite turtle as a kid, and I cannot believe it. It was the party guy, Michelangelo.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm not even that familiar with Raphael was the red one. He was a bit rambunctious when he was a bit boisterous. Then was it Donatello was the thoughtful, clever one? Was it?
He was the one with the bow staff. He was the smart one. They all made all the inventions. Yep.
So is Michelangelo the one with the size? No, that's Raphael.
No, he was the one with the nunchucks.
Nunchucks, right? Okay.
You know, we ate the crazy flavored pizza.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I never even watched the cartoons much, so yeah. I just couldn't work out how they had such longevity, to be honest. Like, I mean, have they got a good supporting cast in them comic books? I mean, what keeps people coming back to their comics?
I think it's just nostalgia from as a childhood. I mean, a lot of things nowadays, like, you know, like those He-Man toys I just bought again. It's when I see them in the store, it just brings you back. You're like, I remember those. Wow, you know, that's a lot of these comic books for me is nostalgia. Like, you know, I remember reading as a kid, and like Batman. Batman's my favorite superhero. As a kid, you know, watching that '60s with Burt Ward and the old Batman.
Adam West, yeah. I forgot the names the other day myself. I was trying to remember the names and I forgot. Yeah, Adam West is the Batman.
Adam West, there you go.
Yeah. So what about because I never read any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle books, but so Batman's got a massive gallery of villains. What about the Ninja Turtles? I only know, like, is it Splinter? No, Splinter.
Shredder.
Shredder, that's it, Shredder. And
there's Kang. He's the brain guy that sits in like the big blob body. There's Bebop, Rocksteady, the classic two villains. Baxter Stockman was one of the, you know, the scientist that got turned into a fly.
I've never heard of that one. But have they got a big rogues gallery, have they?
Yeah, they got a few. Not quite as many as, like, say, Batman and Superman and, you know, most your heroes, but I think they're a little bit more memorable.
Right. Interesting. Cool. Anything else you want to add about the Ninja Turtles or should we move on to the next comic?
I'm actually excited. I'm hoping they're going to make another live action movie, and it's, you know, will be better than the last one.
Right, because they've made quite a few already, haven't they?
Yeah, they've gotten a little out of control. I'm hoping they'll actually make the last one. I think was pretty decent. The Ninja Turtles themselves were a little big and bulky, but other than that, it was a pretty good movie.
What's the tone of the comic books like? It's more adult, isn't it, than what you get from the cartoons? Is it not more adult?
It's definitely more adult. It's more dark. It's definitely more serious tone than, like, I mean, there's like, you know, the actual Ninja Turtles comics, and there's like the animated series version of the comic. So, but the actual comic itself, you know, the Laird and the black and white version, it was more dark. I mean, obviously, it starts off with Splinter, you know, losing his family and then getting turned into a rat, for God's sakes, and then
Oh, so he wasn't a rat originally, the Splinter?
No, he was a warrior.
No.
I can't remember the Shredder's real name now, but they were rivals.
Right. So it's magic. He got magically turned into a rat, did he?
Yeah, the ooze got on him.
Oh, okay. So it was the same ooze that turned the.
Yep.
Oh, right, because I'm thinking back to the role-playing game book that I got, and there was like a page from a comic in there, and it seemed like he found them, and he was already—I can't remember actually. I'm sure he was already like a humanoid kind of rat when he found the turtles in the sewer. But I could be wrong. But was it a different incident of the
I
ooze?
could be wrong too. I remember Splinter being turned into a rat by the ooze, but I could be wrong. I know for sure the turtles were turned into turtles by the ooze. He found them as little turtles.
That's right. It could have been a different incident with this, just because he might have encountered the ooze somewhere else, because obviously it was being carted in a truck, wasn't it? In a canister from one place to another. So it might have just been the same ooze, but not in the same incident.
Now I'm gonna have to go look that up after this.
Yeah. All right then. So we move on to have you got one to show for your next comic?
Yeah.
I'll make you big screen so you can show it off and
I don't have number one, and I know the movie kind of blew up, but before the movie, the Infinity Gauntlet comic was really drug me in as a child. It was all the superheroes. It was in the 90s. I was in high school, but all the superheroes coming together, and the comic was so much better than the movie. I mean, I enjoyed the movie, and how the first movie ended and Thanos snapped and all that and everyone died. In the comic, that's how it all started. So, and the comic was a lot more graphic, and for instance, I think it was Terexia smash Spider-Man's face in and do a bloody pulp in the comic, and I was like, wow. And then what really the big memory was when Wolverine jumped at Thanos and stuck his claws into his chest, and they have the little balloon saying, this any superhero, this would have been the one you would have thought delivered the killing blow, but then Thanos basically turned Wolverine's adamantium skeleton into rubber. So that was I was so blown away. I was like, what? That was such a shock to me as a child. I was like, no way, not Wolverine. And so that whole Infinity Gauntlet series really drew me in with Adam Warlock and with all the Eternals and all the gods trying to fight Thanos. It was just that it was a big ordeal. It was a big to-do for me.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I've never read it. I've never read it to this day, I don't think. When did it come out? Do you know what year it came out?
I think it was 91.
Okay, I'm surprised I didn't read it then, because I think I was still reading Marvel at that time. But I must just miss the big crossover. I don't know.
It was, it was great. I mean, a lot of the stuff that, in the comic that they leave out in the movie, the beginning, where Thanos is sitting there having this conversation with Mephisto about, what he's going to do, how he's going to win Lady Death's basically heart.
Yeah.
And how she basically brings him back from the dead and gives him these powers. And then he goes and gets the Infinity Stones and becomes more powerful than her and is basically determined to, prove that he's his worth to her, basically, because obviously he's in love. And that was a big part I felt like they left out in the movie.
Yeah. What did you think of what he did in the movie? Some people try and sort of hold him up as being a hero, trying to say that he's trying to do the best for the galaxy and all that. I'm sure there's plenty of ways he could have used the Infinity Stones a lot more sensibly than what he did, sort of half in the birth rate or something like that, or increasing the productivity of growth of nature, more plants,
absolutely,
more crops,
making people smarter, making people better.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely, but he is the Mad Titan, so he is a whack job. So
it wasn't all altruistic at all. His ideals, was it? He made it out that he was, but I think he just liked killing people and being a bastard.
Exactly, that was just his excuse. Well, I'm doing it for the greater good, right?
Yeah, because when he took Gamora, when he killed half her planet, didn't he? When he took Gamora, and there was no way that he was looking into maybe if he was going to do it, not that you're going to do it, but maybe killing criminals or something like that first, or the people in society who aren't bloody well. Not that I'd advocate that, of course, but yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
In the comic, it was actually it was pretty sure Gamora. It was his daughter, Gamora, is the one basically stops him. He's
Right.
worried. He's basically occupied with other things, and she just walks up to him and grabs and takes the gauntlet off his hand.
Okay.
So
Simple as that.
obviously he puts it on, and she can't handle the power of the Infinity Stones. But yeah.
It's always a bit strange. You think that if the Infinity Stones give you ultimate power, then surely they should give you the power to be able to handle them.
Yes, you would think.
There's some
just
kind of
like they put
paradox
in the
in there.
Guardians of the Galaxy, where they all have to hold hands in order to, whenever Star-Lord puts on the gauntlet or holds the one stone or whatever it was.
Oh, I don't remember now. But yeah, because he was randomly, because other people just being like melted when they touched one stone, wouldn't they? Wasn't there a thing where you touch a stone, you literally get obliterated into nothing?
Pretty much, yeah. You couldn't handle the power; it would just destroy it.
Was that your first incident in comics of a massive crossover, with all the heroes getting together? Was that what made it so exciting for you?
That was absolutely the first time. I couldn't. I mean, it was great. It was like, you had the X-Men, you had Spider-Man, all of them. Iron Man. You had everybody. Then you also had, the Watcher, Adam Warlock. All the gods. Quasar. I mean, you had pretty much everybody in that comic. It was big for a child, and being big into comics, everybody in one book.
Yeah, was that the first massive crossover that the Marvel did? There must have been other massive crossovers before that.
I couldn't tell you if it was I know the Secret Wars and all that is another big crossover. I couldn't honestly tell you. I know I should be ashamed of myself, calling myself a comic book fan, but I honestly couldn't tell you for the Secret Wars or Infinity Gauntlet.
No one should knock himself out for not knowing every single thing that's happened in the 80, 90 years of comic book history. You know what I mean? Especially when things are retconned all the time, and unless you can go back and read every single comic, it's no one know. And even if you did read every single comic, you're not going to remember it anyway. So
no, absolutely not.
I think my first crossover was DC Millennium.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's I'm quite fond of that one. They were kind of like the sort of ending of it was to create this new team, the New Guardians, and they ended up disappearing after like 12 issues of like never spoken of again kind of thing. So it
happens in comics. You hear, you're like, oh wow, look at this guy, then you never hear from him again.
Yeah. So what about subsequent massive team ups? Have they all been as good as the Infinity Gauntlet for you, or was it that one was the pinnacle for you?
That one to me, I mean, I don't think it gets any better than that. Honestly, that was. I mean, they did an all right justice in the movie, but in the comic, it was just such a big deal for me. That was. It was almost. You couldn't believe that all these superheroes, all these gods, all these everybody together couldn't stop him, and then how it ended up, how simple it was just for Gamora to pull that glove off, and the Surfer, you had everyone there, so.
Yeah. I was gonna say now. I had something I was gonna say. I've forgotten now. I'm sure I had something else I was gonna ask.
Artwork was that pretty sure Perez. I mean,
or did he do the art for it? Did he?
Yes, it was Perez.
Oh yeah. So he'd already sort of cut his teeth doing the Crisis on the Infinite Earth, hadn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. So he was kind of like a kind of master at that point of doing the big. All like one of his things that he does. Yeah, everyone on the page as well. Like the group shots that he does, like characters all over the place. He's like a master. Yeah.
Yeah, there they all are on their way.
Let's zoom you in again. Let's show that again. Yeah,
that's one of my favorite. Yeah, that's one of my favorite covers of the series. There. Sorry about the glare.
I can't do art to save my life, but you got to think to yourself: how do you even start with doing a massive group of people like that? How do you plan it out?
Yeah, where do you start? Which one do you start with? Right in the middle, or do you start out here? Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if he's ever done like a really massive cover picture of all the heroes on it, and he's accidentally put the same hero in twice,
or different versions of the same hero.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. All right, then let's move on to your third comic book now, isn't it? Your third comic book. Unless you've got anything else you want to add finally for that Infinity Gauntlet. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I remember now what I was going to say about the movie. I thought the whole Hulk thing was a bit odd. I didn't think they played the Hulk very well, because they basically made the Hulk a coward.
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird too. I mean,
yeah,
and they Hulk's hiding and cowering and basically scared to death of Thanos.
Yeah.
And then you have Thor in the movie later, who's like, I'll kick your ass. You know what I mean? And Thor and Hulk always fight, no problem. Why should Hulk be so scared of him when Thor's not?
Yeah, that was silly. Oh well. Anyway, carrying on. Let's go on to your third book.
My third biggest memory. I mean, obviously, I talked about loving the Batman.
Yeah.
And The Killing Joke.
Right.
The Killing Joke was a big memory. You'll find the theme here. A lot of these heroes, a lot of these tragic things that happen in comic books are some of the biggest memories for me. Like, when Barbara Gordon gets shot and paralyzed, and like that, I was like, really? A woman just got shot in a comic book, and but then again, comes Oracle, and
she was good as Oracle. Oracle was a great character.
Very great character. But yeah, The Killing Joke, the Joker, he's just that villain that he's willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
In order to make his point, to get into Batman's head.
Yeah. And he's just completely vicious, isn't he? Totally vicious and
absolutely vicious.
Unnecessarily humiliated her and humiliated her dad, and when he stripped him naked as well, didn't he? And put him in the fun house.
That was what really took me back too. Is like how graphic that novel was, and the things that the Joker did, and
yeah. What was do you remember where you bought that? Where you picked that comic up from?
That was a comic that I got from my neighbor's comic book shop that he had their comic book shop. Yeah, that was one that he was reading. I decided to check that one out as well. He kind of gave me a quick rundown of how graphic and how gory it was compared to most Batman comics. Your typical pow, bam, smack.
No, it was much more gritty, wasn't it? Like Barbara scrabbling on the floor, holding her stomach with blood coming between her fingers.
Yeah,
and, it was very, and particularly with a character that a lot of people probably loved at that time, Batgirl. Like people who sort of were fond of her, to suddenly see her being crippled, not even there.
Batgirl's such. I mean, but I'm biased when it comes to the Bat family. I like Batgirl, Robin, Nightwing. I mean, all of them, and they all have that, that crazy backstory. So Batgirl, she's the nicest one of the bunch. So it was a shock to see her get shot.
And not even able to put up a fight. Like if it had been like in the middle of a massive battle, and but it just the fact she opened the door, bang, and it was like, oh yeah, that was the worst thing.
They did vote for his death, but I think it was 4 or 5 issues he came back.
Who, Jason Todd?
Was it, or is it as Nightwing?
No, Jason Todd didn't come back for years. He's Red Hood now, isn't he?
Red Hood, that's right.
Yeah, it took a long time before he came back.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go over easy mode in chat as well. Everyone looks like they've got up early over there in America. Less on different time zones.
He's the working man. He's probably been up working for 12 hours by now.
Ouch. Yeah, he said he was at work. He's watching while he's at work. Having a skive by the looks of it, probably, or a break or something. Because I never really talked much to the comic shop. I never had any mates into comics or anything. Was there a lot of hype around that when it first came out, or did it kind of come in under the radar and people started reading it and going, "Oh my god, what's happening?" Or was it all sort of spoke about?
In my little group of friends, I mean, it was like the R-rated movie of comics. You didn't want to get caught reading that book. So as a child, whenever you're told not to do something, obviously, you go out of your way to do it. You find a way to, I can't read that book. I got to get that book.
It didn't have any kind of rating like that though on it, did it? It wasn't like any warning on it or nothing like that, was there?
I don't think so. It was just it was a graphic novel as opposed to your typical comic book. So I don't remember a rating. I don't remember like music had the parental advisory, the explicit lyric warning. I don't remember any warnings on comics.
Okay, we've got an interesting take from Invoker Grey. It's not that Hulk was scared of Thanos. Hulk recognizes him as a force of nature, an aspect of the Grim Reaper, just like Hulk is the aspect of rage. Okay, that's an interesting take, I suppose. Yeah. And K-Titus, got K-Titus in Japan. He's here as well. Hi, mate.
Samurai Ken.
Yeah. I remember listening to a podcast, and I think it was Grant Morrison talk, and he was, I think he was talking to Kevin, whatever his name is, who did the film directing. And he was saying that he thought at the end of Killing Joke, Batman had killed the Joker, and there was some sort of, because he's laughing in the middle of laughing, he's got him sort of right around the neck, and there's sure there's like his laughter just cuts off dead, and like with the title, The Killing Joke, it's like there is some people say that he was supposed to have been killed at the end of that, but obviously DC wasn't going to get rid of their greatest villain.
You can't kill the Joker, right? And
yeah,
that was another thing that was so shocking is when Batman laughed.
Yeah.
Batman, he's such a serious character, and then when Joker made that joke, and Batman actually found humor in it, that was a big point for him.
Do you think that was a possible touch of insanity, like because he was so like worn out by everything and so stressed by everything that somehow he kind of like,
absolutely. I mean,
that was a crack in the armor, like
for sure. That's what I'm saying about the Joker. He knows what buttons to push. He knows how to get into people's heads. That's what makes him the great villain he is, I think.
Yeah, that's the podcast I listened to, that Grant Morrison interview. Kevin Smith, Fat Man on Batman.
Right.
All right. Okay. Can't think of anything else you wanted to mention about Killing Joke. Did you watch the cartoon version of it?
I did watch the cartoon version. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But they kind of injected.
DC comic cartoons are fantastic. Yeah. I wish they could learn how to make movies.
I'm not listening to you say that. I'm taking my headphones off. If you're bad math in DC movies, I have to remove my headphones so I can't hear what's being said. I'll hear. We'll have no DC movie bashing on my channel, sir.
I like them. I just think Marvel does it better.
I just think they do it different. I like the DC take. I like the Marvel take. But what do I know? I like the Green Lantern movie, which everyone says is rubbish. So
I liked it. I didn't dislike it. I just think Jon Stewart's a better Green Lantern.
There's another take we've got on the Killing Joke was supposed to be an Elseworld story, supposedly, Alan Moore said. So yes, he could have killed him at the end of the Killing Joke, and Barbara Gordon didn't necessarily have to be paralyzed. But I think was that kind of in the time before they actually started doing the Elseworlds run. Maybe if they had been doing Elseworlds run, then they would have kept it at that, and Barbara would have stayed on as Batgirl. But things happen. Okay, so anything else to mention on the Killing Joke? Oh yeah, the love interest in the Killing Joke, the cartoon version, where they decided that Batman and Batgirl are actually lovers, was a little bit. I think it was just done to make the poignancy and like his anger at her being hurt more extreme, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. That's they wanted to hurt Batman more, so if he's obviously in love with her, hearing what the Joker did to her is gonna. It's gonna break his spirits even more. So
I don't think it was necessary to add that bit to it though. But I'm not completely bummed out by it, but I didn't think it was necessary.
No, it definitely wasn't.
Okay, so we're coming up to the last one now, aren't we? So we've had 4 now, haven't we?
I think so.
So this is the last comic memory you're going to share for this time, because you can always come back and do another 5 another time.
Yep. My last one will probably be The Punisher, because I'm a huge Punisher fan, and it would probably be The Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe.
Right. What's your grade on that one? 9.8 again?
Yeah.
Cool. Are you a 9.8 collector on slabs, or are you not really that fast?
No, it's just that one. I mean, that's not one of the really pricey books. Okay. And if I'm going to get it, I mean, if it's, $30, $50 difference, might as well just get it in a 9.8, right?
Yeah, if you like them, cool. What did you like about that one? What memories attached? I mean, do you remember where you bought it, or?
That one I'm pretty sure was in the 90s as well. Might have actually been even later. I'm not really good with time frames, but I think that's what's part of getting old. You could ask my wife; she'll be like, you remember when we did this? I'm like, yeah, that was a few weeks ago. She'll be like, no, that was like a year and a half ago. So
I've had something that I've always done. My people who know me well laugh about it, but I always say the other day. Oh, you remember the other day? And it could be like 10 years ago. It could be 20 years ago. It could be like 2 days ago. But it's always the other day.
absolutely, that's how it always feels, right?
Yeah.
Just the other day we did that. No, it was actually like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
No, but the Punisher kills the Marvel Universe. I mean, Frank Castle is one of my favorite characters in general. Just like Batman, they don't have superpowers, and it's like the relatable story of, like, you know, in this comic, for instance, his wife and kids are playing in the park, and there's this big battle between heroes and villains, and his wife and kid die to basically the onslaught, or all the stuff going on. They die in the battle. So Punisher comes, you know, he shows up and he's like, what happened? And I want to say it's Cyclops, one of the X-Men, and I think maybe Jubilee. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Cyclops and Jubilee. And Scott's like, you know, I'm sorry. And, you know, as a husband and a father, if someone just murdered my family and looked at me and said, I'm sorry, I get it. He's angry. So he pulls his gun out and, you know, he shoots them both in the head. And then, you know, he goes to prison, and he gets out of jail. I think his name was Kessler, or some really rich guy that was basically injured from the Thing, I think, or someone throwing the Human Torch at his car and basically playing his whole face.
Right.
And he's got all this money, and he's got this organization of people with all this money, and they basically hire Frank Castle, and they're like, you know, we can't let all these heroes get away with all this. Just like in the Batman versus Superman movie, how Batman's mad at Superman for all the destruction he causes, and he has to answer to someone, right? Well, that's kind of like how the Punisher kills the Marvel Universe is. So the Punisher's basically making them all pay for all the stuff that they've done wrong in the past. I mean, granted, they all do good things, but a lot of good people died in their wake.
Yeah. Does he kill? He kills, you know, heroes and villains, doesn't he? In that story, I'm assuming. Yeah.
He actually goes. He goes to Latveria. He kills Doctor Doom.
How does he kill Doom? Because like he's like a hard one to kill. How does he manage to finish him off?
He basically throws some device that he sticks to his head, and it shuts down all the Doom bots. Right. So he knows exactly which one is the real Doom. And then it's pretty graphic. He picks up a sledgehammer and he's like, he shoots him in the head. And he's like, "Oh, you got armor." He goes, "Well, we're gonna have to get through that." And then you see all these whacking sounds, and then you see a splat. So he made it through the armor.
Yeah, fine. Dear. There's a little bit of that in The Boys. You watch The Boys TV show, because one of the characters' girlfriend is killed by a speedster.
Yes, actually, I think. Let's look here. I think Garth Ennis. I think the writer of the Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe also writes the Boys comic.
Right.
And I think the Preachers are Preachers.
Yeah, he's done Preacher as well. Yeah, done quite a lot of stuff. He's always
I'm not a big fan of the Boys comic, but the show is really good.
Yeah, I like the comic. I thought the comic was pretty cool. The show's pretty decent as well. I don't mind the show, but yeah, it's obviously different, but it's still pretty cool.
Yep.
So
the premise is great.
Didn't they do a few more like kills the Marvel Universe? Hasn't Deadpool killed the Marvel Universe as well?
Killed the Marvel Universe. I'm not sure, but there is a couple other ones. I think there's a few Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe.
Right.
But I mean, it's definitely more impressive when the Punisher does it, because, you know, he doesn't have all these great powers.
Yeah,
it's actually kind of cool how he kills all the X-Men and all the X-Men villains. He basically convinces them on each side. It basically shows Magneto and all the, you know, the mutant villains on one side and all the X-Men on the other side, and they've all met at the moon. Right. And they think the other side said, "Hey, let's meet here for the battle," and it turns out the Punisher led them all up there and drops a nuke on them.
Right. Fair enough. That's one way of doing it. I'm sure there'd probably be a mutant who might be able to escape, but I don't know though. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of holes in the comic. I mean,
yeah,
it's like how he kills the Hulk. He shoots Bruce Banner, and we all know that Bruce Banner tried to kill himself with the bullet, and the green guy spit it out, like you said. So
it should have come back as the Immortal Hulk. If they'd made it nowadays, it would have been the Immortal Hulk, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Cool. All right then. Yeah, I can't think of anything else to talk about on that one. I don't think anyone else has done it. It's not really a DC kind of version of that, is there? There's no like DC where something like Batman kills the DC universe or anything like that. Although he's probably got plans of how to get rid of everybody because he did that once in the JLA story, didn't he? When he discovered his plan.
Yeah, cartoon where he had basically a contingency plan for each of Justice League.
Yeah, it's not quite the same thing though. But yeah, that is the kind of thing that Batman would have though. It kind of in his character, I'd say.
Absolutely. What if? You know, what if Superman? Yeah.
That they actually, do you collect the what ifs and the Elseworlds and that kind of thing?
I haven't, but I mean, like when I watch your, like the Marvel team ups, the what ifs, those are all great books that I remember as a kid reading. So those are, if my wife's watching this, I'm just kidding, but I'm probably going to start collecting some of the what ifs and the Marvel team ups.
Yeah, Marvel team ups are always cool. Anyway, so cheers for coming on, man. I can't think of anything else. I think we've killed those 5 comic books. We've discussed them as fully as I can think of at the moment. But you always say we're always welcome to come back another time if you've got 5 more comics you want to share in the future. We can talk about. And anyone else? No problem, mate. Thanks for coming on. But anyone in chat wants to come in sometime and talk comic books with me as well, more than welcome to. And you got anything?
I think you should get Gary B on here.
Yeah, well, I think I might even got him booked in. Do you know what? I've got a few people booked in. I can't remember. I've got booked in now. I'm terrible because for a long time no one was getting in touch with me, so I started getting in touch with people, and people saying yeah, and I've got like a list. But yeah, I think I might have Gary B already. I can't remember now though. Do you want to share before we go what you got coming up on your channel? You said you got
I got tonight actually on Taylor Winder's channel at I want to say 6 Pacific Standard Time. We will be opening up our That Spider-Man booth V14 boxes live.
What's the grand prize on that one this month?
Honestly, I don't remember. They change the prizes on there so often.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different great prizes. So
cool. All right, then we're
trying to get one, but
Yeah, good luck anyway. I don't know what that is in real time, in real Greenwich Mean Time, the specific standards. With 5 hours difference. I mean, was it 5 hours difference when we said before?
Well, 5 a.m. my time was 1 p.m. your time.
Okay, so but it's 7 hours and something like that. I'll work it out. If I'm awake, I'll tune in anyway.
Okay. Good
luck on that one, mate. And cheers for everyone for tuning in. And hit me up on Instagram. Anyone wants to come on, whack if you want to come on at some point. And talk to you soon, man.
Thank you.